For nearly 2 decades, one daytime talk show became one of the most recognizable brands on television. Millions of viewers tuned in every week, celebrities lined up for interviews, and its host built a reputation around kindness and generosity. But behind the applause, another conversation was quietly gaining momentum. At the same time, comedian Ricky Gervais was earning a very different reputation. Instead of avoiding Hollywood's biggest controversies, he built an audience by making uncomfortable jokes aimed directly at powerful people in the entertainment industry. Around the same period, Wendy Williams continued to make headlines for her outspoken commentary, often discussing celebrity scandals before many mainstream outlets were willing to touch them. None of these stories followed the same path. But together, they sparked a much larger debate about celebrity culture, media influence, and what happens when public images collide with criticism. So, how did these three very different personalities become part of the same conversation? And why are people still debating them years later? Let's take a closer look. Television has always been about more than entertainment. The most successful hosts don't just build audiences, they build trust. For years, Ellen DeGeneres became one of the most recognizable faces on daytime television. Her show featured celebrity interviews, charitable giveaways, viral games, and moments designed to make audiences smile. That public image became central to her success. Meanwhile, Ricky Gervais built his career in the opposite direction. Instead of making guests comfortable, he challenged audiences with satire. His comedy often focused on celebrity culture, award shows, and the contradictions of fame itself. Wendy Williams occupied yet another lane. Her daily commentary didn't shy away from uncomfortable celebrity news, making her one of the most talked about voices in daytime television. Three personalities, three completely different approaches. And eventually, those differences would become impossible to ignore. But the biggest turning point hadn't happened yet. Award shows are usually predictable thank you speeches, standing ovations, celebrity celebrations. Then Ricky Gervais walked onto the Golden Globe stage. Rather than simply entertaining the room, he delivered jokes aimed at Hollywood culture itself. Some viewers praised his willingness to challenge powerful institutions. Others argued that his style crossed the line. One particular monologue referenced well-known public controversies involving powerful individuals. While many interpreted those jokes as criticism of Hollywood's elite culture, others viewed them simply as provocative comedy. The audience reactions became almost as memorable as the jokes themselves. Some laughed, others appeared uncomfortable. Within hours, clips spread across social media, generating millions of views and countless debates. Whether viewers agreed with him or not, one thing became clear. People were paying attention, and that attention only fueled more discussion. But controversy wasn't limited to award shows. It was also reshaping daytime television. Daytime television has traditionally been built on positivity and familiarity. However, as workplace culture became a larger public conversation, increased attention was directed toward how television productions operated behind the scenes. Reports from former employees and media investigations led to widespread discussion about workplace experiences associated with Ellen's show. Warner Media later conducted an internal investigation, which resulted in leadership changes within the production team. While opinions differed regarding responsibility, the story became one of the biggest entertainment headlines of the year. Wendy Williams commented publicly on the situation, offering her own perspective based on years in television. Like many media personalities, she expressed opinions that generated strong reactions from both supporters and critics. Those comments became part of an even larger discussion about accountability in entertainment, but Wendy's own story would soon become just as significant as the story she covered. For years, Wendy Williams made a career out of discussing celebrity headlines before they became mainstream conversations. Her Hot Topics segment was unpredictable, direct, and often controversial. Viewers never knew whose name would come up next, and that unpredictability became one of the biggest reasons people tuned in every day. Supporters admired her willingness to speak openly. Critics argued that she sometimes pushed too far. Regardless of where people stood, one thing was undeniable. Wendy had become one of the most influential voices in daytime television. Then, almost overnight, everything changed. Instead of asking the questions, Wendy became the center of them. Her show ended. Public appearances became rare. Reports about her health began dominating headlines, and legal proceedings surrounding a court appointed guardianship sparked widespread public discussion. As details emerged, fans found themselves asking the same question: what had really happened? Court records confirmed that Wendy was placed under a financial guardianship after concerns were raised about her well being. Later, additional medical evaluations and public statements added new layers to an already complicated story, leading to continued public debate about her condition and her future. Supporters launched online campaigns calling for more transparency. Others urged caution, reminding everyone that health matters are deeply personal and often more complex than they appear from the outside. Whatever the full story may be, one thing became clear. The woman who had spent decades discussing celebrity headlines had unexpectedly become one of the biggest headlines herself. And while Wendy's situation was unfolding, another conversation about Hollywood itself refused to fade away. The entertainment industry has always balanced glamour with intense public scrutiny. But in recent years, that scrutiny has grown far stronger than many insiders expected. Major investigations, civil lawsuits, and renewed media attention surrounding powerful figures changed how audiences viewed celebrity culture. Stories that might once have disappeared after a few news cycles instead remained in the spotlight for months. At the same time, old interviews, comedy routines, and television clips were being rediscovered online. Viewers revisited Ricky Gervais's Golden Globes monologues, not necessarily because they predicted specific events, but because they reflected a broader skepticism towards celebrity culture and powerful institutions. Those clips spread across YouTube, TikTok, and social media, reaching audiences far larger than the original broadcast. Some viewers argued Ricky had simply done what comedians have always done: challenge authority through satire. Others believed his routines represented growing public frustration with elite institutions. Whatever interpretation people preferred, the discussions showed how quickly public perception could evolve. But perhaps the biggest change wasn't happening in Hollywood itself, it was happening among the audience. Millions of viewers were no longer relying on television alone to shape their opinions. Instead, podcasts, documentaries, independent journalists, and online creators were driving conversations that traditional media could no longer ignore. That shift changed everything, because once audiences begin asking difficult questions, they're rarely satisfied with easy answers. 20 years ago, a television network controlled the conversation. Today, millions of viewers do. A single interview can generate thousands of reaction videos. An old award show clip can suddenly trend years later. A podcast conversation can receive more attention than a primetime television special. The relationship between celebrities and audiences has fundamentally changed. Public figures are now expected to respond almost instantly to criticism, while every appearance, interview, or social media post is analyzed in extraordinary detail. For entertainers, that creates both opportunity and pressure. Support can spread around the world within hours. So, can criticism? That's one reason stories involving high-profile personalities often continue evolving long after the original headlines disappear. The internet rarely forgets. Old moments are constantly rediscovered, reinterpreted, and debated by entirely new audiences. For creators like Ricky Gervais, outspoken commentators like Wendy Williams, and longtime television personality, such as Ellen DeGeneres, that reality has permanently reshaped their public legacies. Whether people admire them or disagree with them, their careers continue to generate discussion years after many of those original moments occurred. And perhaps that's the biggest lesson of all: public opinion is never truly fixed. It evolves alongside the information people have available. The stories of Ricky Gervais, Wendy Williams, and Ellen DeGeneres are very different, yet they all reveal something about modern entertainment. Success in television or comedy is no longer defined only by ratings or awards. It's also shaped by public trust, transparency, and the ability to navigate an audience that has more access to information than ever before. Some controversies fade with time, others continue to spark discussion for years. What's certain is that viewers today are asking more questions than ever, revisiting old moments with fresh perspectives, and forming their own conclusions rather than accepting a single narrative. Whether you see these events as examples of changing media, evolving celebrity culture, or simply the natural cycle of public life, one thing is difficult to deny. The conversation is far from over. If you enjoyed this deep dive, let us know your perspective in the comments. Which moment do you think had the biggest impact on Hollywood's public image? And what story should we explore next? Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.